We've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. We're going to find out. I mean, I'll find out after this. You'll find out. But we've been told on good authority, and I hope it's true. Who knows, right? Who knows? Crazy world.
The message is do not repeat the same mistake that you did in June. You know, if you try a failed experience, you will get the same result.
在看的是川普到底要不要对伊朗出手。
很多人说不要打，包括听说他副总统，很多人认为这个打没有意义，觉得他还是一贯伎俩，他还是什么恐吓，对，所以嘴巴恐吓，而行动上看起来现在是越来越保守。
川普的话绝对不能相信，川普在干什么？他根本军事准备还来不及。如果真的让他准备好了，你说他不动手，我才不相信了。这个人哦。口蜜腹剑，被你带刀，他就是一个很会炒作的一个高手，你不能否认这一点。他在算什么？他真正的目的在说什么？他想要用武力销毁伊朗的导弹库，这是他真正的目的。川普那一张嘴，不用太相信。
只是就看川普的一念之间而已。
认为他不会动手，因为我认为美军这个川普刚嘴巴讲大话。
你说他还没准备好，是不是？
他完全没有准备好。对，我相信五角大厦里面一定是没办法进行这场战争，因为他没有做好战争准备。这话谁讲的？是川普自己讲的。川普讲了一句话，他说：“资源正在路上，那代表说你还没到嘛？凭你这几架飞机，你就想去打伊朗？所以伊朗再怎么不济，这个破船还有3分钉，这个再怎么不济，他也比委内瑞拉要强啊！你这时候去打。”我跟你讲，你自己是自寻死路。
伊朗很大，伊朗是中东的最大国，伊朗有8000万人呐。然后再者的话呢，伊朗有非常强大的一种超音速导弹的群呐。这个伊朗本身的地形啊，非常适合于这个任何不要命的人来打游击战呢。那美国怎么敢来呢？所有的国家们对于这个美国要不要打伊朗事情很关心，只有以色列是出奇的安静，那不正常，你知道？那革命卫队，我刚刚听到江正在讲说，什么部队最有勇气、最有实力啊？不怕死的部队最有实力。伊朗这边的这个神权国家会维持，因为他们的好处就在于说是有一个人代表了国家的权利，他的坏处当然是这个人要是糊涂，那就完蛋。
对，那伊朗来讲，他无所谓，我死10个拼你换你1个。但是你美军，你只要说是大批的伤亡，我跟你讲，美国老百姓就造反了，这是第一个。那如果说美军真的动手，我跟你讲，那就是世界大战的开始了。但是如果说你动到中国的这种原油的进口，那动到它的生命线来讲的话，我跟你讲，中国绝对不会善罢甘休的。那第二个国家叫做俄罗斯，大家不要小看俄罗斯，俄罗斯跟伊朗关系之深呢。
We see Trump getting increasingly unhinged, not just at domestic, but also at international level. But the Europeans, though, the leaders, of Europe, have predictably showed their obedience and offered their support, making it clear they consider Maduro illegitimate and seeking, essentially to back the American position on this. But what does this mean for Latin America? Because in the U.S. national security strategy, it outlined clearly that this was, more or less America's backyard now, and it wanted other great powers out, and the U.S. should, reign supreme. Is this something, a warning for what's to come in other places in Latin America as well?
Well, first, let me say a word about Europe. It's a very sad day for your country, Glenn. I think we can rename the Nobel Peace Prize as the Nobel War Prize. It was given to a person this year who called for exactly what has happened today, who called for a military strike by the United States on Venezuela. It came to pass. This is a tragedy for countries, governments, and institutions that once upon a time talked about international law. The European response has been pathetic, absolutely pathetic. Of course, every leader in Europe seems to cower to the U.S., to be terrified. The strongest statements were, we hope that this will return to stability soon, not any kind of shock of a brazen attack against the international order, against the UN Charter, against peace itself. So this is the world that we're in right now. Europe varies between complete vassalage and acquiescence to the U.S. or its own warmongering when it comes to Russia. There seems to be no diplomacy, no peace, and no attachment to multilateralism or to the UN Charter. You don't see it anywhere. When it comes to Latin America, of course, Trump has been openly saying that the United States rules the Western Hemisphere. It will dictate the terms. He has said today, basically, I don't have the direct quotation because I'm halfway around the world, but I saw the wire notice that Trump said, well, the oil is ours. This is a grab for Venezuelan oil. He said our companies will go back in and do business in Venezuela. It could not be crasser or cruder. And we've been there before in this kind of world. We have had a world of sheer imperialism that it was not in any way tempered or bound by international law, and it led to 2 world wars and unconscionable, unimaginable loss of life. So we've been in this kind of situation before. We've never been in this kind of lawlessness in the nuclear age, however, and I think that this is just extraordinarily worrisome to have an unhinged, undisciplined, crude bully, absolutely lawless, absolutely disrespectful of any norms as president of the United States, and to have no counterweight whatsoever in Europe, not a voice for decency or international law. And for the rest of the world, well, I suppose that Russia and China are watching. They have said this is obviously a crass violation. They're not going to intervene in the Western Hemisphere. But what has happened is simply another step of completely dismantling of the institutions and lessons that we once thought we had learned from World War I and World War II and had installed, however fragilely, in the United Nations system and in international law. It barely exists. The UN is in the same situation today as the League of Nations was in its defunct period in the late 1930s and early 1940s. It essentially is useless right now. And I'm sorry to say it because I've been working for and with the UN for 25 years, but the U.S. has disowned it, is trying deliberately to destroy it. And while one hoped that the rest of the world would rally to its defense, we see that Europe is silent. And, our lights went out. I'm in the Himalayas right now. So, but I don't see what is needed right now, which is the rest of the world rallying to the cause that this can't stand in this way. Maybe in the first hours, one shouldn't expect this, and maybe more will come. But it's a very, very alarming period. The U.S. is deliberately out to rip up any semblance or shred of international law. I don't know how Europe will feel when the United States invades Greenland, but don't be surprised when it happens. Trump has announced it. He has announced it again and again, and it's very, very likely to happen. One day, Trump will say we have a national emergency, and Greenland will be occupied. And then probably Europe will say, "Oh, thank you, U.S. It could have been worse." This is how things are right now. Principles, who needs them?
大家好，我是主播周玉琴。很多的朋友告诉我们，太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌帮助了睡眠品质。原版的太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌，它添加有超级食物羽衣甘蓝，健康再加分。而有睡眠困扰的朋友们，赶快选择蓝色包装这一款晚安加强版，绝对是更有感。每日克菲尔，时刻美好 ，Good Feel Good。请上快点购为健康下单，而且要记得输入推荐代码，有额外的折扣优惠。太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌基础版、晚安加强版，新包装改版，内容不变，抽取更方便。要吃就吃最好的。